Peace and chaos do not come from the outside world. They are created by the mind itself. According to Buddhist wisdom, the root of much suffering is not always found in what happens outside you, but in the way your mind reacts to what happens. Life will always bring moments that do not follow your wishes. Someone may disappoint you. A person may leave without explaining. A painful word may stay in your heart. An unfair situation may keep returning in your thoughts. But when the mind keeps resisting, clinging, complaining, arguing, and demanding that reality be different, pain begins to last much longer than the event itself. Not complaining does not mean accepting disrespect. Not arguing does not mean you are weak. Not asking for explanations does not mean you are unworthy of truth. In the light of Buddhist wisdom, these are acts of inner freedom. They are how you stop giving your peace away to people, memories, and situations you cannot control. There are pains that happen only once, but the mind makes you live them again and again. A sentence hurts you once, but memory repeats it. A person walks away once, but thought brings them back every night. An injustice happens in one moment, but the inner argument continues for years. You ask, why did this happen to me? Why did they treat me that way? Why was life so unfair? These questions are human, but if you live inside them for too long, they become chains. This audiobook is an invitation to return to yourself. Through practical lessons inspired by Buddhist wisdom, you will learn how to release the habit of complaining, the need to win every argument, and the painful hunger for explanations that may never come. You cannot always control what comes toward you, but you can train the way you receive it. You do not need every apology to begin healing. You do not need every answer to find peace. Sometimes peace begins with one breath, one pause, and one quiet decision. I will not let old pain speak for the rest of my life. Chapter 1. Pain only keeps hurting when you resist it. Pain is part of life, but resistance is what makes pain stay longer than it needs to. This is one of the most important truths you can learn if you want inner peace. Something difficult may happen. A person may betray you. A plan may fall apart. A relationship may end before you are ready. A door may close without warning. That first impact is real. It may hurt your body, your heart, your confidence, your sense of safety. No wise path asks you to pretend it does not hurt. Buddhist wisdom never says that a human being should become stone. It does not ask you to smile when your heart is breaking. It invites you to look at what happens after the pain arrives. The event itself may last a moment, but the mind can turn that moment into a lifetime. A conversation ends, yet you replay it while brushing your teeth, while driving, while lying in bed, while trying to work, while pretending to listen to someone else. The person who hurt you may no longer be in the room, but your mind keeps bringing them back. Their words become louder in memory than they were in reality. Their silence becomes a story. Their leaving becomes a judgment about your worth. That is where pain becomes suffering. The Buddhist teaching, often described as the second arrow, explains this clearly. The first arrow is what happens. The second arrow is what the mind adds. Someone wounds you once, then thought wounds you again. Memory wounds you again. Imagination wounds you again. Resistance wounds you again. The mind says, this should not have happened. Then it says, if only I had done something different. After that, it whispers, maybe I deserved it. Soon, the original pain is no longer alone. It has been surrounded by shame, blame, anger, regret, and endless questioning. A painful event may be unavoidable, but the second wound is often created by the way attention keeps holding it. Imagine someone who has been betrayed. The relationship has ended. The other person has walked away. Nothing in the present room is attacking them. Still, each night they return to the final conversation. They remember the tone of voice. They imagine a better response. They ask why they were not loved with more honesty. They blame themselves for trusting. They blame the other person for leaving. They blame life for allowing it. The betrayal was the first pain. The nightly repetition is the second. This does not mean the person is weak. It means the mind is trying to solve what the heart has not yet accepted. Resistance often disguises itself as analysis. You think you are understanding the past, but sometimes you are only keeping it alive. A question can be useful when it leads to clarity. The same question becomes suffering when it circles without end. Why did this happen? May open wisdom once. Repeated every night, it becomes a cage. At some point, healing requires a different question. Not, why did this happen to me? But, what happens inside me when I keep fighting what has already happened? This shift is not small. It is the beginning of freedom. Not resisting pain does not mean approving of what happened. Many people confuse acceptance with defeat. They think accepting means saying the betrayal was okay, the loss was fair, the cruelty was deserved, or the person who hurt them should be excused. That is not acceptance. Real acceptance means you stop demanding that the past change before you allow yourself to breathe. It means you stop spending your life trying to win an argument with something that has already occurred. A closed door is closed. A spoken word has been spoken. A choice has been made. You can learn from it. You can protect yourself after it. You can set boundaries because of it. Yet fighting the fact that it happened keeps you tied to the very thing you want to escape. Buddhism teaches that suffering grows from craving and aversion. Craving says, I need this to be different. Aversion says, I cannot bear that this is real. Together, they pull the mind away from the present moment. The breath is here, but the mind is in yesterday. The body is safe in this room, but thought is standing in an old battlefield. Inner peace begins when you gently bring the mind back and say, this happened. It hurt. I do not need to keep stabbing myself with it. That sentence may feel strange at first, because part of you may believe that letting go means losing. The wounded ego wants to keep evidence. It wants to replay the scene so it can prove the pain was real. Dear listener, your pain does not need endless repetition to be valid. What happened can matter without becoming your entire identity. Your wound can be honored without being reopened every day. Try this practice when an old memory comes back. Do not attack it. Do not force it away. Sit with it as you would sit beside a frightened child. Say quietly, this is a memory. This is not happening now. The body remembers, but I am here. Then bring one hand to your chest and feel the breath moving. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. The mind may try to continue the story. Return to the body. Return to the room. Return to the simple fact that this moment is not the old moment. With practice, the memory may still arise, but it will not own you in the same way. Pain often asks for compassion, not resistance. A wound heals when it is cleaned, protected, and given time. It does not heal when you keep pressing it to see if it still hurts. The same is true inside. The mind will say, think about it again, analyze it again, ask why again. Awareness will answer, I have seen enough for now. I choose not to turn this pain into another punishment. This is not avoidance. Avoidance refuses to look. Wisdom looks clearly, learns what must be learned, and then refuses to live forever inside the wound. You cannot change what happened, but you can stop letting it happen again within you. That is the quiet beginning of inner peace. Not a dramatic breakthrough, not a perfect forgetting, just one moment when the mind reaches for the old pain and you choose not to feed it. One breath, one pause, one gentle refusal to suffer twice. Over time, these small moments become a new path. The event remains part of your story, but it is no longer the author of your life. Chapter 2. Complaining steals your inner strength. Complaining often feels like release, but most of the time, it quietly trains the mind to stay powerless. This is why the title of this audiobook begins with a strong command: do not complain. Not because your pain is imaginary, not because injustice should be ignored, not because you must pretend everything is fine. Complaining becomes dangerous when it repeats reality without transforming it. The mind points to what is wrong, then points again, until your attention knows only the wound and forgets the way out. A complaint may begin as a simple sentence: "This should not be happening." Soon, it becomes a mood. Later, it becomes an identity. You become the one who is always treated unfairly, always disappointed, always blocked, always misunderstood. Once that identity takes hold, energy begins to drain from your life. Instead of asking what can be done, the mind keeps proving why nothing can change. That is how complaint steals power. It does not steal it all at once. It takes a little each time you repeat the story of your helplessness. Buddhist wisdom does not ask you to suppress truth. If something is harmful, see it clearly. If someone crosses a boundary, recognize it. If a situation needs action, take action. Yet there is a difference between clear seeing and emotional poisoning. Clear seeing says, "This is what happened, and this is the next wise step." Complaint says, "This is what happened, and now I will keep feeding resentment until it becomes my atmosphere." One leads to movement, the other leads to inner heaviness. Think of a person stuck in traffic on the way to work. The cars are barely moving, rain is falling, the clock is unforgiving. One driver grips the steering wheel, curses under his breath, checks the time every 30 seconds, imagines the meeting going badly, blames the city, blames other drivers, blames his life. By the time he arrives, traffic has not only delayed him, his own complaint has consumed the morning. Another driver sits in the same traffic. She feels the frustration arise. Of course she does. Then she notices her hands, softens her jaw, breathes once, and says, "I do not control this line of cars. I control the state I bring into the next moment." Same traffic, different mind. The outside situation remains difficult, but the inner world changes. This is the heart of practice. You do not always get to choose the weather of life. Still, you can learn not to throw more storms into your own mind. Complaint is often resistance in disguise. The mind refuses to accept that reality is currently what it is. A bill arrives. A person disappoints you. The body feels tired. A plan fails. Instead of meeting the moment, the mind begins arguing with it. Why this? Why now? Why me? Those questions may be natural, but they rarely bring peace when repeated without awareness. They make you stand in front of life with clenched fists. Buddhist practice invites a different posture, not a collapsed posture, not a defeated one, a clear and grounded posture. This is here. What is the most conscious response available to me? That question restores power. It moves the mind from complaint to choice. Many people believe complaining makes them feel less alone. Sometimes sharing pain with someone kind can be healing. There is a sacred difference between honest sharing and repetitive complaining. Honest sharing says, "I am hurting and I need support." Repetitive complaining says, "I will keep describing my prison but refuse to look for the door." You can feel the difference in the body. Honest sharing softens you. Repetitive complaint hardens you. One opens the heart, the other strengthens resentment. In Buddhist terms, the quality of your speech matters because speech shapes consciousness. What you say again and again becomes the path your mind walks. If your words constantly circle around what is missing, unfair, broken, or disappointing, the mind begins to search for more evidence. Not because life contains no beauty, but because attention has been trained to ignore it. A person who complains all day may pass 10 small blessings and see none of them. Warm coffee, a safe room, a message from someone who cares. The ability to walk, breathe, listen, begin again. None of this erases hardship. It simply reminds the mind that reality is larger than the complaint. The practice is not forced positivity. Forced positivity says, nothing is wrong. Wisdom says, something is wrong, but not everything is wrong. That sentence can save your inner life. It allows truth without drowning. A difficult day is not a failed life. A rude person is not proof that humanity is hopeless. A delayed dream is not evidence that the future is closed. When complaint takes over, it turns one painful corner into the whole map. Awareness gently opens the map again. Try a simple practice for one full day. Each time a complaint rises, do not shame yourself. Notice it. Then ask, is there an action here, or only repetition? If there is an action, take the smallest wise step. Make the call. Set the boundary. Rest your body. Have the honest conversation. Change the plan. If there is no action, breathe and release the sentence before it becomes another chain. You may discover how often the mind complains, not because it wants change, but because it is addicted to rehearsing dissatisfaction. This discovery is not meant to make you feel guilty. It is meant to give you freedom. No complaint means no unnecessary poison. No complaint means you are no longer volunteering your peace to every inconvenience. No complaint means you are learning to meet life directly, without adding another layer of suffering. A quiet person is not always peaceful. Some people are silent outside, but full of complaint inside. The deeper practice is internal. Can you stop arguing with the moment in your own mind? Can you see the difficulty without becoming bitter? Can you let the breath create space between what happened and what you repeat about it? When this becomes your practice, strength returns. Energy that once went into complaint becomes available for healing, creativity, service, rest, and clear action. You begin to feel less like a victim of every circumstance and more like a steady presence within changing conditions. That is not a small transformation. It is the first step toward reclaiming your life. Chapter 3. You are not your emotions. Many people suffer because they confuse an emotional weather pattern with their true identity. A wave of sadness comes, and the mind says, I am a sad person. Anxiety appears, and the mind says, this is who I am. Anger rises, and the mind believes it must act immediately. Hurt arrives, and the whole self becomes organized around the wound. This confusion is subtle, but it creates deep suffering. An emotion is something you experience. It is not the whole of you. A cloud may cover the sky, but the cloud is not the sky. In the same way, fear may pass through awareness, grief may pass through awareness, shame may pass through awareness, yet awareness itself is wider than all of them. Buddhist practice trains you to see this directly. It does not ask you to destroy emotions. It asks you to observe them with enough steadiness that they stop pretending to be your master. When you say, I am anxious, the mind fuses identity with feeling. Try a different sentence. Anxiety is present. That small change creates space. It reminds you that something is happening inside you, but it is not the total truth of who you are. When you say, "I am broken," the body tightens around a story. When you say, "Pain is moving through me," the heart has room to breathe. Language matters because the mind follows it. Naming emotions with awareness is not just a technique. It is an act of inner kindness. You stop throwing yourself into the fire of every feeling. Consider someone who receives a cold text from a person they care about. The message is short, no warmth, no explanation. Immediately, a familiar fear rises. They are pulling away. I am being abandoned. I must have done something wrong. If that person believes the emotion completely, they may send a long message, accuse, apologize too much, or beg for reassurance. The action may not come from wisdom. It comes from an old wound. Yet if they pause and observe, something different becomes possible. They may say, "This is fear. This is the old fear of being left. It is here. But it may not be the truth of this moment." That pause is powerful. It does not deny the feeling. It prevents the feeling from becoming a command. Emotions often carry information, but they do not always carry accurate interpretation. Anger may tell you that a boundary matters. It may also exaggerate the threat. Sadness may tell you that something needs care. It may also convince you that nothing will ever change. Fear may protect you from danger. It may also trap you in a life too small for your spirit. Without awareness, emotions become rulers. With awareness, they become messengers. You listen, but you do not obey blindly. This is the difference between reaction and response. Buddhist wisdom teaches mindfulness as the practice of seeing what arises, staying present with it, and allowing it to pass without clinging or pushing away. Notice the balance. You do not cling to the emotion by building a story around it. You do not push it away by pretending to be fine. Instead, you make space. Sadness is here. Anger is here. Fear is here. Tightness is here. In that simple recognition, the mind becomes less trapped. The emotion may still be intense, but it is held within awareness rather than mistaken for identity. Many people are afraid to observe emotions because they think observation will make the pain bigger. Usually, the opposite happens. What grows is not the emotion itself, but your capacity to hold it. A child becomes louder when ignored. The heart behaves in a similar way. When you push grief away, it knocks harder. When you shame your fear, it hides and returns as tension. When you judge your anger, it often turns into bitterness. But when you sit quietly and say, "I see you," the inner world begins to soften. Not always instantly, not perfectly, yet something changes. The emotion no longer has to scream to be noticed. There is a beautiful dignity in being able to feel without becoming lost. Imagine sitting beside a window while rain falls. You do not need to fight the rain. You do not need to claim that you are the rain. You simply watch. The sound may be heavy. The sky may be dark. Still, the room that holds you remains. Your awareness is that room. Every emotion is weather passing through it. Some storms last longer than others. Some arrive from wounds you did not choose. Compassion is needed here. This practice is not about becoming cold or detached in a lifeless way. True mindfulness makes you more human, not less. It allows sadness without self-destruction. It allows joy without clinging. It allows anger without cruelty. It allows fear without surrendering your whole future to it. Start with the body. When a strong emotion comes, feel where it lives. Is it in the throat, chest, stomach, shoulders, jaw? Breathe into that area gently. Name the emotion softly. Then add one sentence. This is moving through me, and I can stay present. Do not ask it to disappear immediately. Desperation to get rid of an emotion is another form of resistance. Let the feeling be known. Let the breath hold it. Let the mind learn that you can survive what arises inside you. Over time, this changes the way you live. You stop sending messages from panic. You stop making permanent decisions from temporary pain. You stop turning one mood into a life sentence. Emotional maturity is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to remain awake while emotion moves. This is why you are not your sadness, not your anxiety, not your wound, not your anger, not your shame. Those things may visit you. Some may have visited for a long time. Still, beneath them is a deeper presence, one that can observe, learn, soften, and choose. That deeper presence is where peace begins. Return there often. Each time you do, the emotion may still exist, but it will have less power to define you. Chapter 4. Crisis can also purify you. Not every crisis is a punishment. Sometimes the moment that breaks your illusion becomes the doorway to a more honest life. This does not mean pain is pleasant. It does not mean loss should be romanticized. No one who has truly suffered needs empty words about everything happening for a reason. Certain losses are heavy. Some betrayals change the way you trust. A health scare, a job loss, a divorce, a failure, a public humiliation, or a quiet, private collapse can shake the ground beneath you. Buddhist wisdom does not ask you to call the fire comfortable. It asks you to look at what the fire reveals. Before crisis, many people live inside assumptions they never question. They assume a relationship is secure because it is familiar. They assume a career is meaningful because it pays well. They assume the body will keep carrying them no matter how much stress they ignore. They assume approval from others means they are living correctly. Then life interrupts. Something ends. Something fails. Someone leaves. The body says no. The mind reaches a limit. At first, it feels like everything is falling apart. Later, if you look with courage, you may see that something false was falling away. Crisis often removes what comfort allowed you to avoid. A person loses a job and calls it the worst thing that ever happened. For several weeks, the silence feels unbearable. No morning routine, no familiar title, no easy answer when someone asks what they do. Shame appears. Fear speaks loudly. Yet inside that empty space, another truth begins to surface. The job had been draining their health for years. Their relationships had become thin because exhaustion consumed them. A creative part of them had been buried under responsibility. Losing the job did not automatically make life better, but it forced a conversation they had postponed. What kind of life am I actually living? That question may hurt, but it can also save a person. Buddhist teachings often invite us to look deeply into suffering, because suffering contains causes. It points to attachment, illusion, fear, craving, avoidance, and false identity. You suffer when you lose the thing, but you may suffer even more because you had built your whole self around it. The relationship was not just a relationship. It was proof that you were lovable. The career was not just work. It was proof that you mattered. The achievement was not just success. It was protection from feeling ordinary. When crisis removes the object, the attachment becomes visible. This visibility can feel brutal. It is also the beginning of freedom. What you cannot see, you cannot release. Crisis shows you where the hand was gripping too tightly. There are fires that do not come to destroy the soul. They come to burn away what has been covering it. Pride, dependency, false security, the need to impress, the habit of ignoring your own body, the belief that peace depends on one person staying, one role continuing, one dream unfolding exactly as planned. When these beliefs collapse, the first feeling may be terror, then grief, then anger, then emptiness. Do not rush through these stages. A seed does not become a tree because someone shouts at it to grow faster. Healing has a rhythm. Allow yourself to feel the shock without making it your identity. Let the grief have its season without building a home inside it. Gradually, ask what the pain is showing you. Not in a harsh way, not as self-blame. Ask with tenderness. What was I attached to? What did I ignore? What truth was life trying to bring into view? What part of me wants to be born from this? These questions turn crisis into practice. Without them, pain may harden into bitterness. With them, pain can become understanding. A crisis purifies only when you stop using it as evidence that life is against you and begin seeing it as a moment that demands awakening. This does not excuse people who hurt you. It does not erase injustice. It simply returns your attention to the part of life you can work with, your own consciousness. Someone else's action may have created the first wound. Your awakening determines whether that wound becomes a prison or a teacher. Many people emerge from difficulty with a strange kind of clarity. They no longer chase the same shallow approval. They stop postponing honest conversations. They simplify their lives. They become kinder, but also firmer. They realize how brief life is and how expensive resentment can be. Something in them becomes less interested in noise. That is purification, not perfection. Not constant peace, a cleaner relationship with what matters, a more honest relationship with time, a deeper respect for inner stillness. When hardship comes, the mind usually asks, how do I escape this? Wisdom also asks, how do I meet this without losing myself? That second question changes everything. It helps you remain present inside difficulty. It keeps you from adding complaint, panic, or self-hatred to the original pain. If the fire is already here, do not throw your whole heart into it. Stand close enough to learn, but not so close that you forget who you are. Let the fire reveal what is no longer true. Let it warm the courage that has been sleeping in you. Let it burn the illusion that peace depends on a life with no discomfort. The lotus grows from mud, but the mud is not the final story. Your crisis may be muddy, dark, and difficult to understand. Still, within it may be the beginning of a wiser life. You do not need to be grateful for the pain immediately. Start smaller. Be willing to ask what this pain is asking you to see. That willingness is already a form of light. Chapter 5. Attention is your most valuable treasure. What holds your attention holds your life. This truth may be one of the most practical teachings you will ever receive. People often say they do not have enough time, but many are losing something even more precious than time. They are losing attention. Time passes no matter what you do. Attention is the place where your inner life is shaped. Place it on resentment, and resentment grows. Feed it with comparison, and lack becomes louder. Give it to fear, and the future becomes a dark room filled with imagined threats. Offer it to breath, gratitude, clear action, and quiet presence, and a different world begins to form within you. In Buddhist practice, mindfulness is the art of bringing attention back to the present moment. Not because the present moment is always comfortable, but because it is the only place where life can actually be lived. The mind loves to leave. It runs to yesterday to revise old pain. It runs to tomorrow to control what has not arrived. It runs into other people's opinions, other people's success, other people's silence. By the time the day ends, the body has been here, but attention has been scattered across 100 places. This is why many people feel exhausted, even when they have not done much physically. They have spent the day donating their attention to every thought that knocked on the door. Imagine waking up in the morning and reaching for your phone before you have even taken one conscious breath. Messages appear. News appears. Someone else's perfect life appears. A problem from work appears. An unanswered message appears. Before your feet touch the ground, the mind has been pulled outward. It starts comparing, worrying, reacting, wanting, judging. The day has not truly begun, yet your attention has already been taken hostage. Now, imagine a different morning. The alarm rings. Before touching the phone, you place a hand on your chest. A slow breath enters, another breath leaves. You notice the room, the light, the simple fact that you are alive. No dramatic ritual is needed. Just a few seconds of returning. These 2 mornings may seem small, but they create different lives. The first teaches the mind to be grabbed by the world. The second teaches the mind to come home before meeting the world. Attention is not passive. It is a form of nourishment. Whatever you repeatedly notice becomes stronger in your inner landscape. This is why complaint is dangerous. It trains attention to search for what is wrong. This is why resentment becomes addictive. It gives the mind a familiar object to chew on. This is why longing can become painful. The mind keeps placing attention on what is absent, and absence begins to feel larger than everything present. Buddhist wisdom does not ask you to deny what is missing. It asks you not to worship it. Yes, something may be missing. Love may be missing. Clarity may be missing. Money may be missing. Health may be missing. Still, if attention stays only with what is missing, the heart begins to believe life is only lack. That belief can become more painful than the lack itself. A person who constantly thinks about the past loses more than hours. They lose freshness. They lose the ability to notice the kindness available today. They lose the small beauty of ordinary life. A warm shower becomes invisible. A meal becomes mechanical. A friend's voice becomes background noise. The mind is elsewhere, kneeling before an old wound. That is a heavy way to live. Not because the past does not matter, but because the past was never meant to eat the whole present. The practice of attention is the practice of gently reclaiming your life from mental wandering. Start with simple anchors. The breath is an anchor. The body is an anchor. Sound can be an anchor. The sensation of your feet on the floor can be an anchor. When thought pulls you toward a painful story, do not insult yourself. Just notice the pull, then return. This returning is the training. Many people think meditation means having no thoughts. That misunderstanding creates frustration. The mind will think. The practice is not to empty the mind by force. The practice is to stop believing every thought deserves your full attention. Some thoughts are useful. Some are old echoes. Some are fear wearing a serious face. Some are pain asking to be held. Mindfulness helps you know the difference. In daily life, ask often, what am I feeding right now? If you are scrolling through strangers' lives and feeling smaller, you are feeding comparison. If you are replaying an insult for the 10th time, you are feeding resentment. If you are breathing slowly and listening deeply to someone in front of you, you are feeding presence. No one can answer this question for you. It requires honesty. The good news is that attention can be trained. Even if your mind has wandered for years, it can learn a new path. The brain and heart respond to repetition. 3 mindful breaths today may not change everything, but they interrupt the old pattern. A quiet walk without headphones may feel uncomfortable at first, then cleansing. A few moments of gratitude before sleep may seem small, but they teach the mind that the day contained more than problems. Practice this for the next 3 days. When you wake, notice 3 simple things before touching a screen: light, breath, and the feeling of being supported by the bed or floor. At midday, pause for 30 seconds and say, I am here. I do not need to leave this moment to be safe. Before sleep, recall one thing that was good, however small. This is not magic. It is training. Slowly, attention becomes less wild. The mind begins to understand that peace is not found by chasing every stimulus. Peace grows when attention is gathered, softened, and returned to what is real. Guard your attention as you would guard a sacred flame. The world will try to buy it, steal it, provoke it, entertain it, and exhaust it. Old pain will try to reclaim it. Other people's opinions will try to direct it. Fear will try to dominate it. Yet every moment offers a quiet choice. Where will you place the gold of your awareness? Choose carefully. Your life grows in the direction of your attention. Chapter 6. You cannot control what comes, but you can control how you receive it. Much of human suffering comes from trying to control what was never in our hands. Other people's words, other people's moods, the weather, the past, timing, change, aging, loss, rejection, public opinion, sudden inconvenience, the reactions of life itself. The mind wants guarantees. It wants people to behave predictably, plans to unfold smoothly, and outcomes to match effort. When reality refuses, frustration begins. Buddhist wisdom does not promise that life will become controllable. It offers something deeper. It shows you how to develop a mind that can meet uncertainty without collapsing. Peace is not a life without storms. Peace is the ability to remain connected to your own center while the storm moves around you. This directly connects to the title, Do Not Argue. Often, you are not only arguing with people, you are arguing with life. A delay happens, and the mind argues. A person misunderstands you, and the mind argues. A plan changes, and the mind argues. Someone criticizes you, and an inner courtroom opens immediately. You prepare your defense. You summon evidence. You prove your intentions. You imagine the perfect reply. Yet the body tightens, breath shortens, and peace disappears. What was gained? Perhaps nothing. What was lost? Your inner ground. This does not mean you should never speak. There are moments when a clear response is necessary. There are times when a boundary must be stated, a truth must be expressed, a harmful pattern must be addressed. The question is not whether you speak. The question is, who is speaking through you? Is it awareness, or is it wounded pride? Is it clarity, or is it panic? Is it wisdom, or is it the desperate need to win? A person who is publicly criticized may feel heat rise in the body. The face tightens. The mind rushes forward. It wants to strike back quickly, because speed feels like strength. Yet speed is not always strength. Sometimes it is slavery to impulse. Imagine that person taking one breath before answering. Just one. In that breath, space appears. They may say, "I hear your concern. Let me respond clearly." Or, "That is not how I see it, but I am willing to discuss it respectfully." Or, even, "This is not the right moment for me to answer," from a calm place. Notice the difference. The criticism was not controlled. The response was. The other person's judgment was not controlled. Dignity was protected. This is the practice of receiving life with awareness. You may not be able to choose the first sound that enters your ears, but you can train the silence before your reply. The breath is one of the few things always available as a doorway back to choice. When the mind feels attacked, return to the breath. When the future feels uncertain, return to the breath. When someone refuses to understand you, return to the breath. This is not a cliché. Breath is where the nervous system meets awareness. In ordinary language, it helps you slow down enough to stop becoming a puppet of the moment. Buddhist practice often begins with breathing, because breath brings the wandering mind back to the body. The body lives now, the mind travels everywhere. If you want to stop arguing with life, you must return to the place where life is actually happening, not in tomorrow's fear, not in yesterday's wound. Here, in this inhale, in this exhale, in this room, control also hides inside the need to be understood. You explain once. The person does not understand. You explain again. They twist your words. You explain more. They still refuse. At some point, the problem is no longer communication. It is attachment. You are attached to being seen correctly by someone who may not have the capacity, willingness, or humility to see you. This attachment creates suffering. The wise response may be to stop arguing, not because your truth is weak, but because your peace is valuable. A calm mind can say, "I have explained enough. I release the need to be understood by someone committed to misunderstanding me." That sentence is powerful because it returns authority to you, not authority over them, authority over your own attention. Life will continue to bring what you did not order. A loved one may act differently than expected. A body may need rest when ambition wants more. A season may close before you are ready. The practice is to meet each moment with the question, what part of this is mine to hold? If the answer is action, act. If the answer is acceptance, soften. If the answer is boundary, speak clearly. If the answer is grief, let yourself grieve. If the answer is waiting, wait without poisoning the waiting. Inner maturity is knowing the difference. Many people waste years trying to control the uncontrollable while neglecting the one place where real practice is possible, the mind before reaction. You do not need to master the whole world. That is impossible. You only need to master the small, sacred moment before you abandon yourself, before the angry message, before the bitter complaint, before the unnecessary argument, before the desperate demand for an explanation. In that moment, freedom is available. It may be small, but it is real. A person who can pause has already changed their destiny. The pause interrupts karma, not in a mystical, dramatic sense, but in the practical pattern of cause and effect. Old trigger, old reaction, old suffering, new pause, new response, new path. The world may remain unpredictable, but you become less predictable to your wounds. That is a beautiful form of liberation. When chaos comes, imagine yourself as a deep lake. The surface may be disturbed by wind. Ripples may appear. Rain may fall. Yet below the surface there is depth. You are not required to become the ripple. Let the world move. Let people speak. Let circumstances shift. Receive what comes with open eyes and a steady breath. Then choose the next right step. Not from panic, not from ego, not from the need to win. From the quiet center that knows peace is not given by circumstances. It is practiced inside them. Chapter 7. No one owes you anything. This may be one of the hardest lessons in the entire journey, and also one of the most freeing. No one owes you love. No one owes you gratitude. No one owes you recognition. No one owes you an apology. No one owes you an explanation, even when you deeply deserve one. At first, this may sound cold. It may even feel unfair. The heart may resist and say, "But I was kind. I tried. I gave so much. I stayed. I supported them. I suffered. Surely they owe me something." That reaction is human. It deserves compassion. Yet if you look honestly, you may see how much suffering has come from waiting for people to pay emotional debts they never agreed or were never mature enough to repay. Buddhist wisdom does not teach you to stop loving. It teaches you to stop turning love into a contract that destroys you when the other person does not fulfill it. Wanting love is natural. Clinging to a specific person as the only possible source of love is suffering. Wanting to be appreciated is natural. Needing appreciation before you can respect yourself is bondage. Wanting truth is natural. Believing you cannot heal until someone explains their behavior gives that person too much power over your life. There are people who will never apologize, even when they know they hurt you. Their pride may be stronger than their honesty. Their fear may be stronger than their conscience. Their emotional immaturity may prevent them from looking at themselves clearly. If your peace depends on their awakening, you may wait for years outside a door that never opens. There are people who will never recognize what you gave, not because your giving had no value, but because some people receive warmth like a room with no windows. Light enters, but they do not notice where it came from. There are people who will not explain why they changed, why they left, why they became cold, why they broke a promise. Their silence may hurt. Still, your life cannot remain suspended until they become capable of giving you closure. Closure is sometimes something you create through wisdom, not something you receive through another person's kindness. Think of someone who spends years waiting for a parent to say, "You did well. I am proud of you." They study hard, work hard, become responsible, become successful, become useful, become impressive. Yet the words do not come. Perhaps the parent is emotionally closed. Perhaps they never learned how to express affection. Perhaps they are trapped in their own wounds. The child becomes an adult, but inside there is still a younger self waiting at the door with an achievement in their hands. One day, a painful realization arrives. I may never receive the sentence I have been waiting for. That realization can break the heart, but it can also open it, because now another possibility appears. Can I finally speak to myself with the tenderness I kept begging from them? This is not easy, yet it is freedom. Understanding that no one owes you anything does not make you numb. It makes you less dependent on unconscious people for your inner oxygen. You can still appreciate love when it comes. You can still receive gratitude with a warm heart. You can still welcome an apology. The difference is that these things become gifts, not conditions for your survival. When something is a gift, it brings joy. When it becomes a demand, it brings fear. The mind says, "If they do not give me this, I cannot be okay." That sentence is where suffering grows. Buddhist practice gently loosens the grip. It says, "May I receive what comes with gratitude. May I release what does not come with dignity." This lesson is closely connected to not asking for explanations. A wounded mind believes explanation will end pain. Sometimes it helps. Honest conversation can be healing when both people are mature. Yet many explanations create new confusion. Some people explain themselves in ways that blame you. Some hide the truth. Some give half answers. Some speak from shame. Some do not understand their own motives. If you keep demanding clarity from a confused person, you may only inherit their confusion. There comes a time when wisdom says, "I may never know every reason. I can still choose peace." That choice does not erase the past. It ends your emotional dependence on the person who wounded you. Freedom often feels like a loss before it feels like peace. Letting go of what someone owes, you may feel like giving up the case against them. The ego loves the case. It collects evidence. It remembers dates. It repeats the injustice. It imagines the day they finally understand. But while the ego builds its case, your life is passing. The breath you could be living becomes fuel for an inner trial, with no judge, no verdict, and no ending. Ask yourself with honesty, how long will you keep your heart in court? How much life must be spent proving that you deserved better? You did deserve better. That truth can stand without becoming a prison. You can say, I deserved honesty, and I release the need to get it from someone who chose silence. You can say, I deserved care, and I will no longer beg for it where care is absent. You can say, I deserved respect, and now I will respect myself enough to stop waiting at a closed door. These sentences are not bitter. They are clean. They carry grief, but also dignity. No one owes you anything, yet life may still give you much. Love may arrive from unexpected places. Respect may grow from within. Peace may come, not because they returned, but because you stopped abandoning yourself in their absence. The thing you receive is a gift. The thing you do not receive must not become your cage. Practice this at night. Place both hands gently on your heart and repeat, I release the debt I wanted the world to pay. I return to myself. What comes with love, I welcome. What does not come, I no longer chase. At first, the words may feel impossible. Keep practicing. The heart learns through repetition. Slowly, you may feel less anger in the waiting, less hunger in the silence, less desperation around those who cannot give what you needed. That is not coldness. That is sovereignty. A free heart can love without begging, give without losing itself, and walk away without needing the other person to admit why the walking away became necessary. Chapter 8. What you criticize in others often reflects what is unhealed in you. Strong irritation is often a doorway. It may point outward, but it also invites you inward. This does not mean every criticism you have is wrong. Some behavior is harmful. Some people are dishonest, arrogant, careless, manipulative, or cruel. Buddhist wisdom never asks you to pretend poison is medicine. Yet it does ask you to look at the intensity of your reaction. When someone's behavior takes over your whole mind, when one comment ruins your day, when another person's weakness becomes an obsession, something deeper may be touched inside you. The other person may be showing a problem. Your reaction may be showing a wound. Both can be true. This is why looking deeply is more powerful than simply judging. Judgment stops at the surface and says, they are the problem. Awareness goes further and asks, what in me is being activated by this? That question requires courage because the ego prefers to stay outside. It wants to analyze everyone else. It wants to list their flaws, prove their faults, and remain innocent. Inner work begins when you stop using other people as distractions from your own hidden pain. Imagine someone who becomes furious around people who show off. Every time a coworker talks about an achievement, tension rises. The mind says, they are so arrogant, they always need attention. Maybe the coworker is showing off. That may be true. Still, the strength of the reaction deserves attention. Looking deeper, this person may discover a younger part of themselves that also wanted recognition, but was taught to stay small. Maybe they were criticized whenever they celebrated themselves. Maybe they learned that wanting to be seen was shameful. Now, when someone else openly seeks attention, it touches the place where their own desire to be seen was buried. The irritation is not only about the coworker. It is also about an unlived part of themselves. This does not mean they should become arrogant. It means they can heal the shame around being visible. Another person may harshly criticize neediness in others. They cannot stand emotional dependence. Yet beneath that judgment may be their own fear of needing anyone. Perhaps they once needed someone and were abandoned. Now they praise independence, but not from freedom. They praise it from fear. Someone else may hate weakness because they were never allowed to be vulnerable. Another may judge selfishness because they have spent a lifetime ignoring their own needs and secretly resent those who do not. Human reactions are layered. Buddhist practice invites compassionate investigation, not self-attack. not endless psychological analysis, just honest seeing. When you notice strong criticism, pause and ask, what exactly bothers me? Be specific. Is it their confidence, their laziness, their freedom, their need for attention, their dishonesty, their emotional coldness? Then ask, where does this live in me? This question may reveal that you share the same trait in another form. It may reveal that you fear becoming like them. It may reveal an old wound. It may show you a boundary that needs to be set. Looking within does not always mean you are projecting. Sometimes your anger is telling you that something is not okay. The practice is to avoid using insight as a weapon against yourself. If someone truly mistreats you, do not say, "This is only my projection," and remain in harm. Wisdom includes discernment. The point is not to excuse other people. The point is to stop letting them control your mind. When you can see both the outer behavior and the inner trigger, you become free to respond with clarity. Without inner seeing, you may react from old pain and call it truth. Fat Jiao, in its deepest spirit, teaches looking deeply because every reaction has causes and conditions. A harsh person did not become harsh from nowhere. A fearful person did not become fearful by accident. Your own reactions also have causes and conditions. This understanding does not remove responsibility. It brings compassion into responsibility. You can say, "This behavior is not acceptable," without hatred consuming you. You can say, "I need distance," without building an identity around resentment. You can notice someone's flaw without making it the center of your inner life. There is a beautiful freedom in this. The world will always contain people who irritate you. If every irritating person can steal your peace, your life will be unstable. But if each irritation becomes a mirror, even difficult encounters can become practice. The arrogant person may teach you about your relationship with visibility. The unreliable person may teach you about boundaries. The critical person may teach you where you still seek approval. The cold person may reveal where you abandon yourself to earn warmth. The loud person may show you how much you have silenced your own voice. The mirror is not always pleasant. Still, it can be useful. Try this practice when someone disturbs you. First, name the behavior without exaggeration. They interrupted me. They dismissed my effort. They are seeking attention. Second, name your feeling. Anger is here. Shame is here. Fear is here. Third, ask, what part of me is being touched? Finally, choose a response that protects both your dignity and your peace. Maybe you speak, maybe you step away, maybe you set a boundary, maybe you simply learn something about yourself. The goal is not to become endlessly tolerant of harmful behavior. The goal is to stop being unconsciously ruled by it. People who disturb you can become unexpected teachers when you stop using them only as objects of blame. Some will teach you patience. Some will teach you distance. Some will teach you self-respect. A few will teach you where your heart still needs healing. The person who irritates you may indeed have work to do. That is their path. Your reaction is yours. When you take responsibility for your inner world, you stop giving everyone the power to drag you into chaos. This is not easy practice, but it is deeply liberating. The mind becomes less obsessed with judging and more interested in understanding. The heart becomes less reactive and more steady. Light grows where blame used to live. Chapter 9. Stop seeking validation from the outside. You lose peace when you place your worth in other people's reactions. A compliment lifts you. A criticism crushes you. A message makes you feel chosen. Silence makes you feel invisible. Approval becomes food, and the lack of it feels like starvation. This is a painful way to live because the outside world is unstable. People are distracted. People are wounded. people are inconsistent. Public attention rises and falls. Even those who love you may not always respond in the way your heart wants. If your value depends on these movements, your inner life will never be steady. Buddhist wisdom points you back to a deeper ground, the part of you that does not need applause to exist. This does not mean you should not enjoy appreciation. A kind word can be beautiful. Recognition can encourage the heart. Being seen by another human being is meaningful. The problem begins when appreciation becomes proof of worth. Then you no longer receive praise freely. You depend on it. Once dependency forms, fear follows. You fear being ignored. You fear disappointing people. You fear making choices that others may not understand. Slowly, your life becomes a performance. Instead of asking, "Is this true for me?" you ask, "Will they approve?" Instead of moving from inner clarity, you move from the hunger to be accepted. Many people do not notice this because seeking validation often looks responsible, kind, or ambitious. A person may work too hard, not from joy or purpose, but from a desperate wish to be admired. Someone may stay agreeable, not from compassion, but from fear of rejection. Another may post online and spend the day checking numbers, letting strangers decide their mood. One like brings relief. No response creates anxiety. A negative comment feels like a wound. The body is sitting in one room, but the sense of self is floating in the eyes of others. This is not freedom. It is exile from your own center. Imagine someone sharing a thought online. After posting, they check the screen repeatedly. 10 likes, they feel encouraged. 20, they feel worthy. Then the growth slows. Doubt appears. Was it not good? Did I say something wrong? Do people not care? A single number begins to shape the emotional weather of the day. Nothing truly changed in the person's soul, but the mind allowed the crowd to hold the mirror. This pattern does not only happen online, it happens in families, workplaces, friendships, romantic relationships, spiritual communities, and creative life. Anywhere you want to be seen, the temptation appears to hand your worth away. Buddhist practice invites you to return to right intention. Before acting, ask, "Am I doing this to be approved, or because it is aligned with what is true?" The same action can come from different roots. Helping someone from compassion feels clean. Helping someone to be liked creates resentment when praise does not come. Working hard from purpose builds strength. Working hard to prove you are enough creates exhaustion. Speaking kindly from wisdom brings peace. Speaking kindly because you are terrified of conflict slowly erases you. The root matters. When the root is validation, even success feels unstable because you need more of it tomorrow. The ego is never full for long. It asks for another compliment, another achievement, another sign that you matter. The deeper self does not need constant proof. It needs honest contact with life. The journey away from validation does not happen by declaring, "I do not care what anyone thinks." Often, that sentence is just another defense. A mature heart may care, but it does not collapse. It can listen without being owned. It can receive criticism without turning it into identity. It can enjoy praise without becoming addicted. The practice is not indifference. It is inner stability. When someone praises you, bow inwardly and keep walking. When someone criticizes you, examine what is useful and leave the rest. When someone ignores you, do not abandon yourself in order to become visible to them. This is how dignity grows. There is also a tender wound beneath validation seeking. Many people who crave approval were not consistently seen when they were young. They learned to earn attention by performing, pleasing, achieving, or staying useful. If this is part of your story, Do not shame yourself. The hunger makes sense. Yet what once helped you survive may now be limiting your freedom. The adult path is to give yourself the recognition you kept outsourcing, not in a shallow way, not by repeating empty affirmations you do not believe. Begin by noticing your own effort. I showed up today. I acted with honesty. I protected my peace. I did something difficult without needing applause. These quiet acknowledgments rebuild an inner mirror. Practice doing one good thing each day without telling anyone. Let it be small. Clean a space. Give anonymously. Keep a promise to yourself. Read something that nourishes your mind. Take a walk. Create something. Do it without turning it into a performance. At first, the ego may feel restless. It may want credit. Smile at that restlessness. This is training. You are teaching the heart that value exists even when no one claps. Over time, the act itself becomes enough. A private life of integrity starts to feel more satisfying than public approval. This is a profound shift. When you stop begging for validation, your presence becomes lighter and stronger. You no longer enter rooms, asking silently, "Do I matter here?" You bring your own groundedness with you. You can love people without needing them to define you. You can share your gifts without making response your master. You can speak truth with kindness, even if it is not popular. You can disappoint others when your soul requires honesty. Inner peace grows because the throne inside you is no longer occupied by public opinion. Return often to this sentence: my value is not created by being noticed. Let it sink beneath the mind. Your worth was never born from applause, so it cannot die from silence. The world may appreciate you, misunderstand you, praise you, forget you, criticize you, or celebrate you. All of that belongs to the weather. Your task is to remain rooted in the ground of your own awareness. From that place, you are no longer a beggar at the door of other people's approval. You become a person who can receive love with gratitude and stand alone with peace. Chapter 10. Fear is not the enemy. It is a messenger. Fear is often treated as something to defeat, hide, or be ashamed of. Many people believe a strong person has no fear. That belief creates unnecessary suffering. Fear is part of the human system. It tries to protect. It signals that something matters. It points to places where the mind is attached, wounded, uncertain, or unprepared. The problem is not that fear appears. The problem begins when fear becomes the driver of your life. Buddhist wisdom invites you not to run from fear and not to worship it. Sit with it. Listen to it. Ask what it is showing you. When understood, fear can become a teacher. When obeyed blindly, it becomes a prison. You may fear losing someone because your peace has become dependent on their presence. You may fear failure because your identity is tied to success. A person may fear rejection because they still believe being rejected means being worthless. Another may fear starting again because the emptiness inside has been avoided for years. Fear is rarely only about the surface event. It carries deeper meanings. The mind says, "I am afraid this relationship will end." Looking deeper, the heart may be saying, "I do not know who I am without being chosen." The mind says, "I am afraid my project will fail." Beneath that, another voice may whisper, "If this fails, I will have no proof that I matter." The mind says, "I am afraid of being alone." Deeper still, the soul may admit, "I have never learned how to sit with myself kindly." Fear points to these hidden beliefs. That is why attacking fear is not enough. You must understand what it protects. Imagine a person after a painful breakup. Friends encourage them to move on, meet someone new, rebuild their life. They try, but fear rises every time they imagine beginning again. On the surface, they fear dating. Underneath, they fear being hurt again. Below that, they fear discovering that the relationship had been covering a deep loneliness. The breakup did not create all the emptiness. It revealed it. Now fear stands at the doorway, not as an enemy, but as a guard asking, "Are you ready to enter the place you avoided?" If they run away, the fear remains. If they rush forward without awareness, old patterns may repeat. If they sit with fear patiently, healing can begin. This is the middle path. Fear often grows when avoided. Avoidance tells the mind that the feared thing is too powerful to face. Each time you refuse to look, fear becomes larger in imagination. A conversation is postponed and dread grows. A decision is avoided and confusion thickens. A memory is pushed away and it returns in dreams, tension, or sudden sadness. Awareness works differently. It turns toward fear gently and says, "I am willing to see, not all at once, not with force, just enough to begin." You may sit quietly, breathe, and name it. Fear is here. Then ask, "What are you trying to protect me from?" The answer may surprise you. Sometimes fear protects you from real danger. Listen to that. Leave the harmful place. Set the boundary. Get support. Other times, fear protects an old identity that is ready to be released. Listen to that too. The wisdom is knowing which is which. Fear of a dangerous person is not the same as fear of being judged for living honestly. Fear of repeating a harmful pattern is not the same as fear of stepping into growth. Buddhist practice develops discernment through presence. A panicked mind treats everything as danger. A mindful heart can sense the difference between true warning and old conditioning. This is why you must slow down. Fast fear becomes reaction. Observed fear becomes information. One powerful practice is to visualize fear as a figure standing before a doorway. Behind the doorway is something meaningful, a more honest life, a difficult conversation, a creative risk, a new beginning, a deeper solitude, a healthier boundary. Fear stands there like a lion. At first, it looks as if it wants to devour you. Look again. Perhaps it is asking whether you will enter consciously. Approach it in your imagination and say, "I did not come to fight you. I came to understand what you guard." Feel the body. Notice the breath. Let fear be present without letting it decide everything. This mental ritual may sound simple, yet it teaches the nervous system that fear can be approached. Over time, courage becomes less dramatic and more steady. Courage is not the absence of trembling. It is the ability to take one wise step while trembling. Do not shame yourself for being afraid. Shame only adds another wound. If fear is present, something in you needs care, clarity, preparation, or protection. Give yourself that. A child who is afraid does not become brave because someone yells, "Stop being weak." The child becomes brave when a steady presence says, "I am here with you." We can take one step. Become that presence for yourself. Speak inwardly with firmness and kindness. I see the fear. I will not let it run my whole life. We will move carefully. We will move honestly. We will move together. Fear also reveals attachment. This is important. If you are terrified of losing approval, approval has become too central. If you are terrified of being alone, companionship may have become a substitute for inner friendship. If you are terrified of failure, success may have become your identity. These realizations are not accusations. They are invitations. Wherever fear is strongest, look for the place where the hand is gripping too tightly. Then practice loosening, not dropping everything suddenly. Loosening, breathing, remembering that no person, role, outcome, or image can be the whole foundation of your peace. When fear is listened to, it becomes less monstrous. It may still visit, but it no longer rules from the shadows. You begin to recognize its voice. Ah, this is the fear of rejection. This is the fear of not being enough. This is the fear of uncertainty. Naming it reduces its spell. Meeting it with compassion reduces its violence. Acting wisely in its presence builds trust in yourself. Eventually, fear becomes part of the path. It shows you where healing is needed. It points to the places where freedom is waiting. Do not let fear be your enemy. Do not let it be your king. Let it be a messenger. Bow to the message, then choose from wisdom. Chapter 11. Silence is not emptiness. It is presence. In a noisy world, silence can feel strange at first. Many people are used to filling every space. A phone in the hand, music in the background, words sent too quickly, explanations offered too often, complaints repeated before they are understood. Arguments continued long after they stop being useful. The mind becomes afraid of quiet, because quiet reveals what noise has been covering. Yet silence is not emptiness. True silence is presence. It is the place where you finally hear what you feel, what you need, what you know, and what you have been avoiding. This is why silence is central to inner peace. Not as punishment, not as withdrawal, not as coldness. Silence, when practiced with awareness, is a return to yourself. There are moments when speaking is wise. There are also moments when speaking too soon destroys clarity. After being hurt, many people rush to explain. They write long messages, defend their intentions, ask for answers, demand recognition, or try to make the other person understand every layer of their pain. Sometimes this is honest. Often, it is panic wearing the mask of communication. The wounded mind believes that if it can say enough, the pain will stop. It believes that if the other person finally understands, the heart will become calm. Yet when the listener is defensive, indifferent, immature, or unwilling, more words only create more exhaustion. You do not always need another sentence. Sometimes you need enough silence to stop abandoning yourself. Imagine someone preparing to send a long message filled with blame and heartbreak. The message may be true in parts. The pain is real. The disappointment is valid. Still, the body is shaking, breath is shallow, and the message is being written from a burning place. A wise pause enters. The phone is placed down. Shoes are put on. A 10-minute walk begins. No music, no call, no speech. Just steps, air, breath, and the body slowly returning from the edge. By the time this person comes back, the deepest need has changed. The goal is no longer to win the argument. The goal is not to hand the wound to someone careless. The goal is to keep dignity. Perhaps a shorter message is sent. Perhaps no message is needed. The silence did not erase the pain. It purified the response. This is the power of pausing before words. In Buddhist practice, right speech is not only about speaking truth, it is also about timing, intention, and usefulness. A true statement can still be harmful if spoken from hatred. A necessary boundary can be weakened if delivered from desperation. An explanation can become self-betrayal when offered repeatedly to someone committed to misunderstanding. Silence gives speech time to become clean. It allows the mud of reaction to settle so the water of the mind can clear. Without silence, you may speak from the mud and later regret what was said. With silence, you may discover that the most powerful response is simple, measured, and free of inner begging. Silence also helps you stop complaining internally. Many people stop speaking but continue arguing inside. This is not true silence. The mouth is closed, but the mind is shouting. Practice deeper silence by noticing the inner commentary. They should not have done that. I should have said this. What if they think that? Why did life do this? Watch these thoughts as sounds passing through awareness. Do not chase each one. Let them rise and fade. Real silence is not the absence of thought. It is the refusal to become entangled in every thought. The mind may speak. Awareness does not have to answer. This is a refined practice, and it takes patience. At first, silence may feel uncomfortable because your nervous system is used to stimulation. Sitting quietly for even 5 minutes may reveal restlessness. You may reach for the phone without thinking. You may suddenly remember tasks. You may feel sadness that was buried under busyness. None of this means you are failing. It means silence is working. It is showing you the texture of your inner life. Stay gently. Let the breath be your companion. Let sounds come and go. Let the body settle. Over time, silence becomes less frightening and more nourishing. A daily hour of complete silence may be difficult for some lives, but begin with what is possible. 10 minutes in the morning, a quiet walk, a meal without a screen, a drive without turning on anything, a pause before replying. These simple spaces restore dignity to attention. They teach the mind that it does not need constant input to feel safe. They allow intuition to be heard. Sometimes, after enough silence, you will know what to do without forcing an answer. Some truths do not arrive through analysis. They appear when the mind stops pushing. Silence is especially important when you are tempted to ask for explanations from someone who has already shown you enough. Their behavior may be the explanation. Their absence may be the explanation. Their repeated pattern may be the explanation. The mind wants a speech, a confession, a reason that makes the pain easier to organize. Yet sometimes the clearest answer is not spoken in words. It is shown through consistency or the lack of it. Silence helps you accept what has been shown without begging for it to be translated into something kinder. This acceptance can be painful. It can also be liberating. You stop asking a closed heart to become a teacher of your worth. In silence, you return to the one relationship that must not be abandoned, the relationship with yourself. You hear your own fatigue. You hear your own longing. You hear the truth beneath the performance. You may realize, I am tired of explaining myself to people who do not listen. Or, I have been using noise to avoid grief. Or, I already know what is right, but I am afraid to choose it. These realizations are gifts. They may not be loud, but they are clear. Silence does not make you weak. It makes you available to wisdom. A person who can be silent before reacting is difficult to control. A person who can sit with discomfort without immediately complaining becomes steady. A person who can stop demanding explanations from the unawakened becomes free. Practice silence not as an escape from life, but as a way of entering life more fully. Let it be the room where your soul can breathe. Let it clean your speech, calm your body, and return your attention to what matters. In the end, some answers only come when you stop forcing the mind to speak. Chapter 12. Be grateful even for what you do not yet understand. One of the deepest forms of peace is the ability to continue living without understanding everything. The mind wants explanations. It wants neat endings, clear reasons, visible justice, and immediate meaning. When life refuses to provide them, complaint begins, argument begins, endless questioning begins. Yet there are moments when wisdom asks for something more difficult, than understanding. It asks for trust, not blind trust in every event, not denial of pain, not pretending that what hurt you was good. Gratitude for what you do not understand means believing that even from pain, something within you can grow. It means refusing to let confusion become bitterness. It means allowing time to reveal what the present moment cannot yet explain. Many experiences do not make sense while they are happening. A relationship ends, and all you see is emptiness. A dream collapses, and all you feel is failure. Someone betrays you, and all you understand is the shock. Years later, the same event may look different, not because the pain was false, but because the life that grew afterward became visible. You may realize that losing that relationship returned you to your self-respect. You may see that the failed dream redirected you toward work that fit your soul more honestly. You may understand that betrayal taught you boundaries you never would have learned while trying to be endlessly forgiving. This later understanding does not erase the suffering. It gives the suffering a wider frame. Gratitude does not mean saying, "I am glad I was hurt." That would be cruel to the heart. A more honest gratitude says, "I did not choose this pain, but I am willing to receive the wisdom that can come from it." This difference matters. Forced gratitude becomes another form of self-abandonment. Real gratitude grows slowly from courage. It begins when you stop asking pain only to disappear and start asking what it can teach. A person who loses a meaningful relationship may feel destroyed at first. The future they imagined disappears. Ordinary places become haunted. Songs, streets, and routines carry memories. During that season, telling them to be grateful too quickly would be unkind. Grief needs room. Tears need room. Silence needs room. Yet after the first storms, a quiet question can arise. What part of me returned because this ended? Perhaps they had become smaller to keep the relationship. Perhaps they ignored their needs. Perhaps they confused attachment with love. Perhaps they were loved in a way that required self-betrayal. Years later, gratitude may not be for the heartbreak itself, but for the awakening it forced. This is a mature gratitude. It has depth. It has tears in it. It does not deny the mud. It honors the lotus that eventually grew. Buddhist wisdom often points to impermanence. Everything changes. What you love changes. What you fear changes. What confuses you changes. Even your understanding changes. This means you should be careful about making final conclusions in the middle of pain. The mind in grief may say, "My life is over." The mind in fear may say, "Nothing good will come." The mind in rejection may say, "I am not enough." These are not truths. They are weather reports from a storm. Do not build a temple around them. Let time breathe. Let practice deepen. Let the heart gather evidence beyond the first wound. What makes no sense today may become part of a larger wisdom later. You do not need to force that wisdom to arrive before it is ready. Simply leave space for it. Gratitude for the unknown is closely connected to not asking for explanations. Some explanations will never come. Others will come too late. A few will come and still not satisfy you. The mind often believes that if it can understand everything, it can finally relax. Yet, life is not a courtroom where every event must defend itself before you are allowed to breathe. Sometimes peace begins when you stop waiting for the universe to explain every detail and choose to live anyway. This does not mean becoming careless. Learn what can be learned, repair what can be repaired, leave what must be left, then bow inwardly to the mystery that remains. There is humility in this. A mind that demands total understanding becomes tense. A heart that allows mystery becomes spacious. Try this practice with something you still do not understand. Choose one event that remains painful or confusing. Do not choose the deepest wound first, if it feels too raw. Start where the heart can breathe. Sit quietly and say, I do not yet understand this. I do not have to force meaning today. May I receive the lesson when I am ready. May I not turn confusion into bitterness. If gratitude feels possible, add, thank you for whatever wisdom may grow from this. If gratitude does not feel possible, do not lie. Say, I am willing to become willing. That is enough. The path does not demand false brightness. It honors honest steps. Over time, this practice changes your relationship with uncertainty. Instead of seeing every unanswered question as a threat, you begin to see some questions as seeds. They are buried now. Nothing seems visible, yet something may be forming beneath the surface. This is how many lives heal. Not through sudden explanation, but through slow transformation. One day, you notice that the pain no longer controls the whole room. Another day, you respond differently to a pattern that once owned you. Later, you protect your peace without guilt. Eventually, you may realize that the thing you did not understand became part of your compassion, strength, and clarity. This is not because suffering is beautiful. It is because consciousness can transform suffering into wisdom. That is the alchemy of the path. The final lesson of this audiobook gathers all the others. Do not complain, because complaint keeps the mind chained to what is wrong. Do not argue, because many arguments only feed the ego and drain the heart. Do not ask endlessly for explanations, because some answers cannot give you the peace that awareness can. Pain may come, confusion may come, loss may come. Still, you can breathe, you can observe, you can choose not to add poison. You can receive life without demanding that every moment be comfortable before you practice peace. You do not need to understand everything to begin again. Sometimes, the most sacred thing you can do is inhale, exhale, bow gently to what has passed, and take the next step with a lighter heart. Conclusion. As I come to the end of this journey, I realize that many times in my life, the deepest suffering did not come only from what happened to me. It came from the way I kept arguing with what happened. I wanted the past to explain itself. I wanted people to understand the pain they caused. I wanted life to answer in a way that made my heart feel less confused. I believed that if I could only find the right reason, the right sentence, the right apology, or the right proof, then peace would finally arrive. But the more I demanded answers from outside, the further I moved from the quiet place within me. I used to think silence meant weakness. I believed that if I did not defend myself, people would think they had won. I believed that if I stopped asking for explanations, I was accepting disrespect. I believed that if I stopped complaining, my pain would become invisible. Yet life, slowly and sometimes painfully, taught me something different. There is a silence that is not defeat. There is a restraint that is not fear. There is an acceptance that is not surrender to injustice, but a refusal to keep injuring yourself with what cannot be changed. Writing these lessons, I learned again that peace is not something the world hands to you when everyone finally behaves correctly. Peace begins when you stop allowing other people's behavior to decide the entire climate of your inner world. This does not mean you never hurt. It means you stop making hurt your permanent home. It does not mean you never speak. It means your words come from clarity rather than panic. It does not mean you never seek understanding. It means you do not sacrifice your dignity begging for understanding from those who cannot offer it. The Buddhist path, as I understand it, in the ordinary struggles of modern life, is not a path away from reality. It is a path into reality without the extra poison of resistance. You learn to see pain without becoming pain. You learn to feel emotion without becoming emotion. You learn to meet uncertainty without demanding that life becomes small enough for your fear to control. You learn to pause. You learn to breathe. You learn to return. And perhaps this is the most important realization I want to leave with you. You do not need to win every argument to be free. You do not need every apology to begin healing. You do not need every person to recognize your worth before you start living from it. You do not need the whole past to make sense before the next breath can be peaceful. Sometimes the door to freedom is smaller and quieter than you expected. It looks like not sending one more message from desperation. It looks like not repeating the complaint that steals your strength. It looks like sitting with fear instead of obeying it. It looks like noticing a wound without turning it into your identity. It looks like whispering to yourself, I will not let old pain speak for the rest of my life. If this audiobook has met you in a difficult season, I hope it does not make you feel judged for hurting. I hope it helps you feel less alone inside the hurt. Pain may have entered your life through someone else's actions, through loss, through change, through a silence you never received an explanation for. But your healing can begin here, with you. Not because the past was fair, not because everything has been answered, not because the people who hurt you finally understand. Healing begins because you choose to stop abandoning your own peace while waiting for the world to become gentle. Breathe slowly. Place down one complaint. Release one argument. Stop chasing one explanation that keeps reopening the wound. Then take one step back toward yourself. That step may seem small, but it is sacred. It is the beginning of a life where your mind is no longer a battlefield, your heart is no longer a courtroom, and your peace is no longer held hostage by what others choose to do. From today, let your practice be simple and strong. See clearly, feel honestly, speak wisely, release gently, and return again and again to the quiet home within you.